Do you dream of taking that do I dare step, of making your one day today? Then welcome to Midlife Unlimited, the podcast for women who want more. I'm your host, Kate Porter, the Midlife Metamorphosis Coach, and I am delighted to be joined by my episode 98, oh my goodness, guest, the fabulous Mia Preston, to give a taste of our full-length audio episode that's available now, wherever you get your podcasts, How to Escape to the Country. Sounds a bit cryptic, and there are a couple of metaphors in there we will be revealing all, not literally. Welcome, Mia. It is fabulous to have you here.
Yeah, it's really lovely to be here. I'm looking forward to this.
Now I absolutely love our full length episode because there are so many golden nuggets, and your story really is. You're a great example of turning our dream into reality. And even if what you've done, which we will reveal in a little while, viewers, don't worry, isn't exactly what people watching want to do, it really is an example of how to take those steps to actually stop thinking about it and start doing it. Because crossroads, midlife, it's a time when a lot of us can be at a bit of a crossroads, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Your children have grown up, they're creating their life, and suddenly it almost feels like you're back in your 20s.
Mm.
But hopefully, which in my case it was, the confidence of the age and the experience that I'd lived. So yeah, it was definitely a crossroads for me when I reached this midlife point.
I love that because that's something that really shines through in our full length episode. The fact that, as you say, we don't want to go backwards. It's not about going backwards, but it's about perhaps igniting things that we've had on the back burner, ideas and adventures that we'd wanted to pursue, and actually thinking, right now we've got the opportunity. Do we still want to do it? If we
Yeah.
don't, fine, try something else. And if we do, how do we go about doing it?
Exactly. Finding that adventurous part of myself that had been suppressed because, children need consistency, they need predictability, they need attunement. And so you do all of that.
Oh, yeah.
But there is actually, I'm not a consistent person. I love adventure, I love novelty, I love following my interests. So, it's been so good to get back to that part of myself again, actually.
As you say, I mean, I refer to it as taking that do I dare step. And
Yeah.
what I love is you're not the first in your family to have done something like this, really, are you?
No, my dad in his late 20s, maybe mid to late 20s, he decided that Cyprus, which is where he was born, this little village in up in the mountains, he decided it was just all too small, a small island. So he basically saved up enough money to buy passage on the boat over to Venice, and all he could afford was a deck ticket. So that's he slept and lived on the deck for however many days it took to cross, and then he worked his way across Europe. Then arrived in London, was met by a friend of a friend of a cousin of a, probably named Nick as well. Uh, you know, so, and this friend of a friend, took him to the Angus Steakhouse in Piccadilly Circus. And that night, when he'd arrived, he was KPing in the kitchen. And then, they'd even found him accommodation with another friend. So yeah, it was absolutely my dad just did it, just
I love it.
decided and did it.
But you said he was very much about having the ideas and then making them reality, which is what you and your husband have done, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my dad's been a real inspiration. I mean, the things he's done. I mean, I remember the first business he ever had, he bought this little wooden hut in Mitcham High Street, and it was so run down. And he got a grant because it was a sort of heritage property, and he got a grant to do it up. And he set up his first business from this little wooden hut in Mitcham. And people were saying to him, "You're mad, you're nuts. What are you doing?" But he did a really successful business from that and launched two other people's businesses from there as well. It was a really successful thing. I mean, he's been such an inspiration for me because I look at what he has achieved just by daring, by
Mm.
dreaming and daring. And I've thought, yeah, what's the worst that can happen? We
Oh.
end up homeless for 11 months and moving with my mum. Well, we've done that
We
already.
do we
So
do talk about that as well, don't we? Going back to live with your mum in midlife as well.
yeah,
Now, you just touched on a wonderful idea of the fact that people were saying to your dad,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
Did anyone perhaps say to that when we are all of it? Basically, you and your husband have completely relocated from the Hastings seaside to not quite the absolute wild, but the Scottish
yes.
countryside, really, literally.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a girl who's never lived in the countryside. I've always been a city girl. I didn't even know if it was something I would love, and we're
It's a
thinking
pretty
quite a
drastic
lot.
way to find out. Yeah.
It really is. But I mean, this is where the visualization came in. I actually sat in it and I really built what it would feel like, what it would sound like, what it would smell like. And that kind of helped me realize whether it was aligning with how I wanted to live the rest of my life. And I realized that actually, yeah, this is me. So I was pretty confident when we moved up here.
Did you
Um,
find that you were perhaps fueled on by people that were trying to not in a bad way because they were trying to protect you probably, but trying to instill maybe a seed of doubt for you and your other half?
Yeah, I think so because there were more sensible choices we could have made.
Yeah.
That's always the thing, isn't it? You've got people who've got a financial head on who are saying, well, there's a better way for that money that you've released from the house to be used. Or there's the people who are family and yeah, they're all sort of saying you're absolutely nuts. But I think I've learned that not everybody can see your vision and that little the little rubber tree ant song that really kind of was playing around in my mind going, yeah, just because people can't see it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done. So
No. And I love the fact that you kept true to that as well. So
mm,
paint us a picture. Obviously, we can see the gore. Is this the library or the drawing room? Oh, look at
this is
me.
the drawing
The
room.
drawing room. So you have moved to this most
Yes.
amazing. I mean, ladies and gents, there's a winding driveway. You can't even
Yeah.
see the house when you first approach us. Give us a visual picture. Obviously, we can see that it's been a work of love, I think, hasn't it? A
It
transformation of love.
has. I mean, when we got here, it was livable, and they'd done a very good job of putting the house back together. It had been derelict before them.
Is it
But
1800s?
yeah, the sort
Yeah.
of 1860s roundabout then. Um, but it lost some of its grandeur over the years. So we didn't have to put much back, but what we had to do was really elevate and showcase what was already here. So I mean, behind me is actually carved leather paneling. I
Oh
know.
my goodness.
I know, and we've got carved fireplaces. We've got 9 bedrooms in the main house and 3 in the coach house. And it's just surrounded by these 30 acres of woodland, which is absolutely stunning. And we've just recently discovered the curling pond. We dug out a track, and it took us up, and we discovered where the old curling pond had been. It's obviously grown over and everything, so we're
What's that?
reinstalling
I've
that.
heard of curling, the sport. No?
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, apparently the sport started in Scotland, and estates like this would have their own ponds where people could go and play, could
Oh
do
my
their curling. And so you'd find a curling pond. It was either a curling pond or a flighting pond, which was
goodness.
to attract the ducks, which they could then shoot.
Uh,
But ours was a curling pond.
Because I know having talked to you and being I won't say envious, but I love what you've done. It wasn't so much about the bricks and mortar, it was about everything outside of that as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was for us. We were really inspired by NEP with the rewilding. So we wanted to get some land that we could rewild and that would bring us really close to nature.
Mm.
I mean, it's mad, really. We've got chickens. We make our own soap from ivy. I know we go and collect the ivy and make our own
I didn't even
washing
know you
soap.
could do that.
Yes, yeah, you can. And everything we try and do is eco-friendly. We do a lot of preserves. We've got the vegetable patch. We're building a root cellar. We're converting an old outbuilding into a root cellar. So we're really trying to get back to that sort of self-sufficiency, close to nature, working in sync with it rather than against it.
No, I love that because I think a lot of the time you hear, oh, we don't feel part of the community. We feel that,
Mm.
we're the new arrivals. But you've been obviously a couple of years in. Is it starting to feel like home now? Because obviously the home you were in before, you'd been there for most of your, the children's formative years. So is
Yeah.
it a big switch to start, or did it feel like home because the two of you were there? And really, that is the home bit, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, actually, the whole thing. I mean, I remember arriving and feeling like I'd landed home. For the first time in my life, I felt content, where I've never been content or landed anywhere. And I was, we were 16 years in Hastings, but we were there for the kids. It had the school they needed, it had the transport links, it had the all the extracurricular stuff. So we were definitely there, but it never felt like my place. And yet I've arrived here, and honestly, the neighbours and the community have been so welcoming, so friendly. They've just embraced us. The house, the land, the people have all embraced us. So yeah, I don't want to go. I dream about being asked to leave, and I'm literally holding on to the
Oh,
door
it's
chat.
like Kathy and Heathcliff. It's like
Yeah,
something out
it's
of
like,
Wuthering Heights.
yeah, it's like, no, I'm not going. I
But
don't want to
I
leave.
love that because it could, so as you say, what's the worst that can happen? It could have all gone belly up. But
Yeah.
as we talk about in our full length episode, I mean, visualization is something that you're really passionate about, and we will touch on that again in a minute if we may. But as you say, the whole idea of change and the fact that if it isn't right, there we don't have to stick at it. So if heaven forbid something hadn't worked out the way you wanted, you knew that you could step away and do something else. It's not set in stone, is it?
No, I mean, I think it's about accepting that we have a picture in our head of what it's going to be like, and life doesn't always live up to that picture. And so that's where people's, suffering and pain comes from. And actually, if we just go, okay, the picture's not what I wanted. So actually, where can well, we talked about pirouetting, didn't we?
Yeah, I
Where can
love
I pirouette? Because my
from your
mum's a
mum. I love
dancer.
that.
Yeah. So where can we pirouette and look in a different direction? So it doesn't have to be another big radical change, but it's like going, okay, this part of the vision's not working. So how can I tweak it? And it's being open and flexible enough to be able to do that, but not so flexible that you're constantly changing. It's balance, isn't it? It's the
No,
middle way.
no, absolutely. Because I know obviously there are so many gold nuggets and so much really great practical advice in our episode. But I think my key takeaway is your visualization that you used,
Yeah.
but also the alternative, which could have been an alternative title to our episode, is like playing dress up.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
talk us through what you mean by that, because I thought it was absolutely wonderful.
Um, well, I mean, as adults, we think we aren't allowed to play, and we are. And I think actually play is really important for creating our dreams and getting to the places that we want to get to. So for me, visualization has been something that's been a big part of my life. I've done it since I was about 10. I think we talk about in
Mm,
the episode, don't we? And I just find that actually sitting myself in the situation, and I kind of borrow the smells, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, and I really immerse myself, almost like I've put that costume on of
yeah.
being the Scottish mansion house lady. I tried that on for size, really liked it.
Have you
So
got a
chose
kilt? That's the
my my husband has. He's actually commissioned one.
oh, superb. You need
Yeah.
to get a throw or something. You need to get your
Yes.
tartan.
Yeah, or a dress. I feel like I
Oh,
need a tartan
yes.
dress.
With a lovely brooch on the shoulder.
Yeah, so I think sometimes, you can have fun whether you follow through on that vision or that because it is just dress up. So it is about, what would it be like to skydive? What would it be like to live
Mm.
in Tuscany? What would it be like to to stand on a stage and give the best speech of your life. It's actually, you can actually create your life. We're the architects of our own reality. We can
Mm,
create our realities actually through visualization and in our heads, basically. And then we can decide, having sort of tried it out, go, well, actually, is this a costume I want to keep on? Or actually, do I want to try another costume? Maybe I want to do something else.
no, I love that. So would that be your first piece of advice for anyone watching this today and thinking, do I dare? Do I dare take that first step?
Yeah, I would sort of immerse yourself in what it feels like, and visualize it, create that kind of image board, or whatever you need in order to create that world for yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to go through with it. That's the whole point of play,
Mm,
is that it's playful, and it can be temporary if you want, but it gives you an insight into whether you feel comfortable and aligned with that particular vision.
no, absolutely. And it might lead somewhere else. You just don't know. It's all
Yeah,
about opening up opportunities, isn't it?
yeah.
Oh, I love that. So I say our full length episode is available now wherever you get your podcasts. And in the show notes are all Mia's contact details. And she has her guest profile on the Midlife Unlimited podcast website where you can find all my details as well. But can you talk viewers through how they can get in touch with you and a bit more about, I love, explain the name behind your business as well, because that's thanks to your dad as well, isn't it?
It is. It's Olive or Fig. So you can find me at oliveorfig.com, or email me at mia@oliveorfig.com. Trying to keep it as simple as possible because my brain can't do complications. And it is a homage to my dad, really. It's part of, leaving a bit of his legacy behind. That idea that you don't have to choose. There's often that or thing, whether you're neurotypical or you're neurodivergent, but actually we can create something that can be both. And that, like the Greek breakfasts, olives and figs and watermelon and cheese, and
All my
why not have it
favorites.
all?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
have it all.
absolutely, let's have it all. Oh, it's been wonderful to catch up with you. And I say
Thank
head
you.
over to the website where all Mead's details are on her guest profile. You can connect with me there as well and find out how you can work with me one to one and by joining more MORE exclamation mark my all-in-one award-winning coaching program for fabulous females who want to start adding life to their years. Don't forget as well, like, subscribe, leave a comment. We love that because it helps the algorithm. Midlife Unlimited has a new audio episode every Thursday, available wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I think every Thursday I try to, if not maybe a bit later in the week, upload a video podcast to correspond with that week's guest. My brain almost went off on a complete tangent, then almost knocked my glasses on the floor. That's how excited I am. So thank you, Miri. I say it's been wonderful. Thank you for watching. Here's to being fabulous, flourishing together, olives, figs, the whole lot, and living midlife unlimited. Thanks, Mia. It's been brilliant.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.